way. Gotta have room to really good meatballs. To me, really good food in general. Mush. Capisci? Like very minced. Okay? It's gotta. You cannot have chunky stuff in your meatballs. It's just ruined. Not happy. It's not good. I used to get really dark, and your cousin Bobby used to get really dark. And is this even?
Yeah.
Oh. So your cousin Bobby and I were like the darkest kids on the block.
Did get dark.
He used to get black, like really gorgeous bronzy color. And I was a very chocolatey, almost Indian brown, if that makes sense. Like a reddish brownish. I got great color as a kid. And so she gets out of the car and she says hello to her friend. And her friend, she says, oh, this is my little cousin Irene. And she goes, is she black? She goes, no, she's Puerto Rican. And I just stood there confused, like, what kind of person asks right there in a whisper, sort of like, is she black? Like, I can't fucking hear her? Like, what the hell's wrong with you? So, in any case, I just grew up feeling very uncomfortable, like I never fit in, like something was always off. Nana kept the tradition going of everyone coming over to the house on Sunday. You know, she didn't like when people argued. Like the time your Uncle Richie, this is a funny story. So it was a Sunday dinner, I think it was the fall, and your Uncle Richie, first of all, you don't wear a hat in someone's house. It's very disrespectful. But your Uncle Richie just had a transplant, like hair transplant, so they took...
Because all the guys...
Because everybody was
losing their hair.
Bald. No, they were bald. Grandpa was bald, Uncle Richie was bald, Grandpa was bald, Papa was bald. So... I remember, I think I was probably like 6, maybe 6. And he had this new girlfriend, Leslie, that nobody liked. Like, Nana didn't like him. I don't think your grandfather liked him. And your grandmother, she didn't like anybody. Mm. But I kept thinking, I didn't understand what a transplant was. And he wore a hat at the dinner table. And I remember arguing with them about that. They're like, take off your hat. And then Nana was like, no, leave him alone. He just had a transplant. And as a little kid, all I remember your Nana saying was, eggplant. So I'm like, why is he wearing an egg? Maybe he's got an eggplant under there? You know, and I would stand around him, like behind him, trying to see if like there was something under his hat. Because I was 6, so transplant, eggplant. To me, it was all the same, I guess. You know, and since your grandmother cooked all the time, and she would always make eggplant rollatini or fried eggplant or whatever, I thought he had one under there. Problem is, I'm not listening to myself, and you're not supposed to move them until they're fully cooked on there, till they're browned, because then they fall apart. So I'm gonna just wait. I always wear an apron to cook because it reminds me of her, and I immediately feel like my food's gonna come out better, you know, because I have her in my mind, and I think I even associate the way I stand. Like Nana was a seamstress, so she was always sewing and always hunched over her sewing machine. And when she was cooking, she was always hunched over the stove. And I kind of stand like her a little bit. I have like a little bit of a hunch when I do stuff. So do you. This is not turning out right. This is not coming out right. Is this screwing up your film?
No.
They're still gonna...
I know you can cook meatballs, Mom.
I know. Ow! They're still going to be good. They're just not going to be as pretty as they usually are. I got to change this song. I hate this song with a passion. I don't even know why it's on my playlist. I am Puerto Rican, but I wasn't necessarily proud because I couldn't identify with Grandma because she was so mean. You know, and I just thought I sort of associated being Hispanic with being mean, or there was a lot of negative connotations with being Hispanic, and because the kids at school picked on me because I was Hispanic, or they thought I was black, which they thought was a bad thing. And I guess I just veered towards the loving side, and of course the side that you felt welcome to. And I just was weird. It was a weird way to grow up, you know, never feeling like you fit in anywhere, wanting to be accepted, but not understanding exactly why, you know. But as a kid, I guess you just feel drawn towards things that are more loving. And so I always ended up feeling more loved and accepted through our Italian side of the family. I'm going to lower the flame because this pan, the only thing that sucks about it is that it gets really hot. Let's taste that. I'm going to put them in the sauce. You know that this is not the right way to do them.
Yeah.
I should have put more oil. I should have made sure that, I don't know why the stove's not working.
Well, that wasn't your fault.
I don't know, but.
I told you the other day, when I look at pictures of him, I feel like you guys have the same mouth. And I know.
I think we do. That's why I always was so confused, because I also think we kind of have the same nose.
Yeah, that too.
You know? But according to your grandmother, you know, she doesn't even know who my biological father is. He was some Peruvian guy named Oscar. So it's really disconcerting to...
But then again, we're talking about Grandma and how
She needed medication a long time ago. So, you know, I don't know. I always felt very close to Nana and Papa. They never treated me like I wasn't their granddaughter because, well, your grandfather, my dad, lied to them, produced a fake marriage certificate, and said that that Grandma and my dad were married.
Wait, did they never get married?
No, they never got married.
I didn't even know that. I thought they got married.
No, they didn't get married because your grandmother, who needed medication, again, I keep stressing that point because she really needed medication, thought it wouldn't be romantic if they got married. So just have 2 kids out of wedlock. That's much better. On your aunt's birthdays, she was the princess, you know, and your grandmother went, from my standpoint, and I was a kid, so you have to keep that in mind too, but, you know, above and beyond for her birthday. My birthdays, she didn't. And then they would always really make it a point to justify, because I would always ask questions like, how come I'm so dark? How come Cerise is so light? How come my hair's curly? How come her hair is straight? And your grandma would say, well, you look like me, but you have your dad's coloring, which made sense.
Yeah.
And your Tia Teresa is light like me, but she looks like your dad. I'm like, okay. And you look at families, and a lot of families there are extremes, you know. According to your grandmother, she was dating Grandpa, and then they broke up. And then she started dating some Peruvian guy named Oscar. And I guess they screwed around or whatever, and she got pregnant. And then she went back to your grandpa. They saw each other, and she said, you know, Joseph, I don't feel well. There's something wrong. And she's like, I don't know what's going on. He's like, well, you know, they went through the steps, and they figured out, okay, well, did you get your period, and did this and that? And she was like, no. He goes, well, you're probably pregnant. And she was like, really, you think so? Because she had really bad morning sickness, just like I did, and all that stuff. I took her to the doctor. They did their tests. He explained that she was pregnant, and she was like, oh God, I'm not going to have this baby. I want to have an abortion. And he's like, no, you can't do that. You can't have an abortion. Have it. He goes, if you don't want to, you know, marry this guy or be with this guy, that's okay. I'll marry you, and I'll take care of you, and she'll be mine. You know, the baby will be mine. And she didn't really want to have me. You know, and growing up, she always said that. She says, if it wasn't for you, for your father, you wouldn't be here. Alright, so we're good. I'm going to taste. I just want to make sure it's not too salty. And we could always add more. Oh, it smells good. You want to smell?
Yeah,
It's good. to come home and the house smells good and there's food on the table and you know that I've been preparing for you to get home. Because I didn't have that. I had that when I was a really little kid, but I didn't have that growing up with your grandmother because she just didn't, that just wasn't her. You know, and I feel bad being so hard on her because she has a disease. She has a mental disorder that I didn't understand as a kid. But it's just a fact of the way I grew up. And I did everything in my power to not repeat that dysfunction in our lives. Even though I'm sure that sometimes I was a little bit nuts. But I always wanted to sort of emulate my grandma. Because my Nana, because she was wonderful. And she made me very happy. Okay, stop.
That was wonderful, Mama. That was so beautiful.
And my two were both.
No.
Okay, good. I don't have to do it again. Good. Can we see it now? Can we see what it looks like?
Yeah. That's good.
That's good?
Yeah.
You sure you don't want another one? I think one more.
Okay.
Okay, that one doesn't have that much sauce, but I got meatballs.
They came out really good.
Yeah. Why, you were eating them?
Yes.
Lovely. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me how much sauce you want.
It's good.
Okay, hold on.
Because you didn't put any meatballs into me.
I think you should get a little bit more.
Okay.
Okay, and then we'll stick a meatball right in the middle. We'll be all good to go. Hold on. Meatball, beautiful. You don't want any more sauce?
No, good.
Are you sure?
No, this one.
Just make sure everything's clean.
It doesn't have to be perfect.
It does because I have to plate it.
Why?
Because I don't like the way it looks when you don't have a clean plate. Who wants to eat on a messy plate? We're not friggin' dogs. You put a little cheese.
Yeah, it's fancy.
A little bit more. Okay. Espen, hold on. Don't touch it.
I think I should just eat it with my hands.
I think you should not even touch it. Stop it. Hold on. A little ricotta. And this one's fresh. This
Sounds
is
really
they
good.
make fresh at Piazza Mercato. Aspetta. Okay. See now look how nice
Yeah, that's
that
really
looks.
pretty.
See when we were.
But then I'm gonna eat it and devour it. And
I don't care what you do, but at least I don't put food on my table that looks like it just came out of, you know, like a dog would eat it. I hate that. And I'm just gonna have this little bit because I just came from the gym.
What are they, like 2 noodles? That's like...
Linda, I just spent an hour in the gym working my ass off, and I'm gonna eat, and it's late.
Yeah.
It's like after 7. I'm like, it's late.
Look how fancy you made my plate.
I'm gonna make my plate a little fancy. Watch. I'll put a little cheese on it.